Welcome, 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 my lovelies. Welcome back. Oh, as always, I'm just getting settled on my chair, and here comes the Nigel. He's looking at boxes that have stuff in them, and now he's walking. Oh, he's going to go up. Are you going to go up on here? Come on, let's lift you. Oh, there we are. Oh. He's up on the museum section at the moment of Georgie's palace, and Georgie is indeed curled up sleeping in the box behind the camera here. So they're both boys are in here with me today. It's a bit damp out and a bit dull, a bit dreary. The other boy, JB, he's gone to visit family today. So I've had to make my own tea. Who knew? Who cared that I can make tea? Cheers, my lovelies. Oh, look, actually it's not as nice as when John Boy makes it, really. It's always nicer when someone else makes it. Okay, Nigel's ripping a plastic bag, or a parcel bag thing apart at the moment, but he's quite safe. It's a big solid packing bag thing. So, first of all, yes, welcome to part 3 of Georgie's palace. We are still working in the basement, so we're working in the Egyptian museum. I'm up to my neck in foam, bits of foam. I'm building, at the moment I'm just letting glue dry, but I'm building different sections of rock here to go in different areas. I've got bits, if I reach up into it, I've got bits that are finished and ready to go into place. Looking very stone-like, I think. So it's getting really exciting now. Not that it wasn't exciting from the word go. my eyes are stinging. I'm quite tired. I've been awake a lot of the time thinking about this. So what I've done is I've done quite a bit of this stone building, and to put the sections in to show you. Instead of taking you through them on the video, you've seen all that. You've seen the foam being cut and made and whatever. So I'll just put it all in place, and then the next thing I'm going to do in the museum is arrange some lighting here and there. So we'll do that. So that'll be nice and exciting. Before we go into it, I did get a comment from from one of my family, or one of our family, that they'd watched my videos and thought that I talked quite a lot. But they did say in the end that they started enjoying the getting involved in everything. So hope I don't talk too much for you lovely people. I always worry that there's not enough chat in my videos. I don't like long bouts of silence where nothing is happening. But before we go into the actual build, one of our family, Jacqueline, hello Jacqueline, from the States, you had sent a parcel or a package to me, and you said on a number of times, please, it doesn't matter about doing a video, it's just a little something for you. So I didn't do an unboxing, boo boo, but I just have to let you know, everybody, just a couple of things, that the wonderful things that Jacqueline sent. I'll just pick out a few of the pieces. First of all, some of it was packed in this Earl Grey tea box, but it's wicker. It's absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Just the packing itself. Really, really good. I'll show you what's in there last. But there's just a few things here. If I can pick them up, she sent. First of all, we've got a kitty. There's actually a little spade thing in there, whatever you call them, for digging up the litter. But a little kitty litter tray. We've got the box that it stays in, Clean Kitties. That's probably not in focus, but it says Clean Kitties. The little pack there, to keep the litter in. That's actually the litter that we used when our cats were kittens. That was the same kind of litter that we used, and it's even in 12th scale. It's so fine, brilliant. So that goes in the little litter tray. The whole litter tray, as we did with our boys, goes on a piece of newspaper, so that can sit on there with the litter in it, and the Clean Kitties box beside it. And last but certainly not least, we have a little ginger Kit Kat. Isn't he fabulous? He's got one leg over, so he'll sit on the end of an armchair or on a shelf or something, but he'll be lounging. So that's that's when I opened these, I was laughing quite a lot, I have to say. But I did do as you said. I didn't film it, but I did. After I opened them, I thought, how can I not show everybody? It's just absolutely fabulous. So that will go in one of the houses, probably in Georgie's palace. Might go in there. Another thing you sent, a little pack of a couple of, which was brilliant. I didn't even know you can get these. They're from Little Things of Interest, miniature books. There we are. And these are ancient Egyptian maps. I'll hold them up. Aren't they wonderful? Really, and on sort of brown coloured parchment type paper, all sort of already sort of crinkled. It's not perfectly flat, but you can see I've even made the paper look old. I will have to. Actually, I've just realised they'll probably go on the walls between the archways. I'm just holding them up now and looking. What I'm going to do, in one of the videos, this one or the next one, I will actually make proper frames with a brown stained wood and the perspex on the front, and I'll frame these so I can then put them on the wall. So that'll be another little project to do with these, to get them in their final resting place, which is quite apt when we're talking about tombs, Egyptian tombs. I never know what's going to come out. Who knows? Who cares? Okay, and the last thing I wanted to show you, it's still in the box here. Lovely little bag that it's in. It just, I have to read it because it really made me laugh. Let me take these out, and I'll show you those in a minute. So little note in here. This little gift here, it says, perhaps a night watchman job at the haberdashery. So Amelie's haberdashery. So perhaps a night watchman job at the haberdashery. I am of good quality, personality and integrity. Just slide my accoutrements under the stairwell somewhere. And they two little bottles of whiskey. Oh dear. I can picture the night watchman now. He's got a heart of gold, but a little bit bleary-eyed when you talk to him, and a slight grin on his face. Like everything's all right with the world. Oh, so that will go in. He might end up working in the haberdashery, as you said. He may end up looking after the gallery for the Art Deco guys, because these could be hidden round beside a column or something. So we'll see where they go. But these are definitely going in the museum. So okay, let's let's move on from there. Let's put those away. Like so. When John Boy and me were out at the antique shops the other day, another thing I found, it's very heavy because it's on a piece of marble, but I found a lovely big bust of Tutankhamun. So it already sort of painted in a bronzy colour. This is actually, the good thing is that it's screwed on there, so I'm going to take this off. I don't want this. I'm going to unscrew this, so I've just got the head here. And then I may completely gold leaf the whole thing. So he's really, really, really gold and shiny. I'll see. But that's something else that will be going into the museum. Oh, grab some tea before it goes cold. Lovely. Okay, so let me get some bits and pieces together. Get some of these. I'm just going to paint these, and I can put them all in place, and then you can see see what the museum looks like so far. Okay, Georgie has decided to come and sit on top of the museum part of Georgie's palace. Well, it is his. Anyway, so let me show you what I've done so far. So we have a plinth there, and we have another plinth at the other end, and we have the blocks at the top there, coming round here as well, and I'll just show you the engravings again, the carvings, looking good. Can see them better in this light now. Then we have the door, and then the same over this side. I've just broken the blocks or the stones differently, so they're not the same on each side, because I want them more natural looking. So they've got bits missing here and there, and on this side we have another plinth. Okay, so that's all in place now. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attend to the arch areas. So the 6 archways, I'm going to fit little platforms inside for artifacts to stand on, and I'm going to fit lighting in front of them, shining up. I haven't done this yet, so the plans could change if it looks ridiculous when I put the lighting on. I haven't wired anything up yet. In my head, it's looking really good. In my head, you can see the statue or whatever, the figure standing in there, with light coming up each side of it, and maybe a shadow forming at the back of it, on the back wall. Maybe I'm wishing too much, but we'll see. But that's what's going on in my head, in case you wonder. So I'm going to make the little platforms now for the statues. Now I've just got some scrap bits of wood basically, and then cut little side bits just a certain depth. They're not all, these aren't all exactly the same size. It really doesn't matter for the purpose that I want them for. There's different size statues going on each one anyway, so that's, I don't know, that was they're all spare bits of wood. Right end, so that was obviously part of something that I was building at the time, but I will rub that out. So I haven't bothered putting anything around the back, doesn't need it. We're not going to see it, although an extra piece of wood in there would just add more support. So now I've said that, I may just do that. It's just a point of cutting another little piece of wood like that and gluing it in. I probably will do that actually. It will stop I mean, you've got to press it quite hard to bend it, but I'll do that now I've said it, because now it's put it in my head. So now these are made, I'll finish them off at the backs, and I'm waiting on some new wood dyes to turn up, some Rustin's wood dyes, and I'm going to choose a colour. I want something quite dark, really, like a dark oak or something, but I want these blocks of wood just to be, or these little pedestal or plinths to be just sort of dark wood. I was going to make them to look like they were the stones, but it would just all be the same then, and I want something standing out for the statues to stand on. So we'll in any second now, but a day or two for me, I will stain these little beauties and then put them in place to see how that goes, and then I'll fit the light in front of them. Now I put the backs on as I said I would, so now they've got support all round, and I'm just staining the wood. I'm just using a mahogany colour. It's just a reddy brown colour. You're not, well, I was going to say, you're not actually going to see them that much, I think, with the idea that I have in mind. I just wanted to raise the statues up a little bit so they weren't just standing on the floor. So I've made these very crude, very quick, and if there's any tiny fine lines of wood glue that's smeared and dried, and it's not going to cover over completely. If you get glue on the pieces that you make, when you stain it, it will show up with the stain. But these, I just want these very crude, very sort of just sort of put together quickly. I don't want them pristine or anything. Plus, on top of that, as I say, they're not really going to show up that much. There's going to be something sort of blocking the view just low down. So when you look down into the room, you may be able to see a little bit at the sides of at the top there, but you probably won't be able to see the actual front piece anyway. But that's all to come. And I haven't mentioned it yet, but I haven't got to that stage. But there's a very a sort of radical thing I'm going to do in the museum, but it's involving the actual house itself, the palace itself as well. But I will wait until we come to that part before I let you know what I'm going to do. But it is quite a radical thing to do. If you imagine it being in a real building, it's quite an exciting thing. Hopefully, visually, it's going to look really good. But no, I'm not telling you yet. I will, when I come to it, I'll show you, and it should be really, really good. Right, okay, so that's these pieces stained. I'm not going to bother going over them a second time. I just didn't want the white wood or the light coloured wood. And yes, I'm going to take this outside and leave it on the workbench outside to dry, because this wood dye smells, and doing it indoors, it's not a good idea for you to sit with it for a long time. So this has taken me a couple of minutes. I'm now going to take it all out. Also, I use, if I'm doing something roughly and it hasn't got to be fantastic, I just use a piece of tissue to wipe it on, and then you can just throw the tissue as well. If you use a brush, then the next stage is to use thinners to clean the brushes and everything. So for this job, I thought there's no point in doing all that, just to dye them. So I will now take these out, throw everything away, or throw away the paper and the dye, let them dry, and then I can put them into place. Okay, so we went in this morning and we drove into our local town. It's about half an hour away, called Colchester. It's an old Roman historic town. I think it's the oldest recorded Roman town in the UK. it's changed a little since then, I imagine. I'm just thinking as I'm saying that, the main reason we went in there because last night we were watching a programme on TV about food, and they were talking about chocolate, and the people doing the programme went to the Caribbean islands, where the chocolate that is made for the shop or the brand Hotel Chocolat, and we have one of those in our town in Colchester. I've never been in there before. It's not cheap, but after watching the programme, that's all I could think about for the rest of the evening. So we drove into our town today, and I bought a lovely nice box of chocolates to treat us, John Boy and myself. Not for the pussycats, of course. Chocolate isn't good for the little kitty cats, but we shall make them last, so they'll be worth the money in the end. While we were there, we went into a lovely little independent shop. A lot of the mainline shops we don't really like, but the nice little independent shopkeepers have different things, unusual things. And I found I had to get one of each, a whole bunch of Egyptian pictures. There we are, they're all like so. And they're actually, looking at them when you take them out, the material that they're made in, there's a warp and a weft. And when you start to pull them, they do actually come apart as if it's fabric fraying. So they're done some kind of parchment paper, the way they've been put on. They're not just normal paper. They have been pressed onto this. So what I'm going to do, instead of having, I don't want them brand new, really brightly coloured like that. I want to try and make them look a bit more authentic. So I took one and then took some pliers. I just cut it out a bit so it's a bit smaller around the edge, and then round the edge, very, very tiny bits at a time, like that. So it's taken me ages, but just tiny bits at a time. I have completed one. It probably took about 20 minutes, and I'm going to do quite a few to go around the room. So it's definitely a thing me of love, or whatever they call it when you're doing a job. So I've sort of torn it all around the edges so it's all rough and not even, and I've gone over it with the steel brush, the wire brush, and scrubbed it. So it's really, if you can see the difference, hopefully. That one looks a little bit older and a bit more worn. So what I'm going to do is glue these firmly onto some of the wall areas, and then after I've done that, I'll then get the wall colour on the paint and probably use the dry brush, or the brush for dry brushing, and I'll just dry brush roughly around the edges so it just sort of blends in from the wall into the artwork. So it will be a look. Hopefully it will look okay. It will look very Egyptian. I'm sure that's going to happen. I really quite like those two on each side of the doors, up high above the doors. So I'm going to do to this what I did to this, and then put them on the wall, and we'll see how that looks. But yes, I shall just see what I want to go around and just treat each one in the same way. Hurrah! Now, I can't actually put these in without getting right in the way of the camera, with the space that I have and how I can set the camera up. So I won't show me doing this, but just to tell you, these LED lights, there's 3 on each strip. I've just painted them the same colour as the walls and things, just to help blend them in case they're noticed. And then I've also joined on extra wire here so it can go through the back of the house or the museum. So if I can show you, I'm actually just using a bit of super glue to glue them down on the floor right in front of each plinth. And then I'm I've made holes in the back of each archway, and the wires go out through the back where I can wire them up. I've actually glued in the plinth, so they're solid, and I've glued in the lights as well, so they're going to stay in place along with the walls. And then the only thing that will be movable is the archway itself and the brickwork above it on the wall, so I can just take that away anytime I want to do any work behind the scenes. So I've got one more to do to put in here. You can see where I've drilled the hole, so I'll poke that through, glue this down at the front there, then I can put the archway back, and then I'll do the same on the other side as well. Now, as you can see, I've spun the museum around so we can see the back. You can now see where all the lights, the LED lights, are coming out from under each archway. There's 3 there, and 3. Oh, and Nigel has just jumped off the up on here. I'll just let Nigel out. Okay, Nigel's gone outside. I think because I've started talking about the lighting. He was here when I was doing the Christmas house lighting, and as I've started this video, I think I heard him say, "I've seen all this before," so he's got bored and gone outside. On saying that, now I have said that, the wiring that I'm talking about now, I do go into more depth in the Christmas house. If you look at my playlists, if you haven't seen the Christmas house video, there's 3 of them, and it's in the final part, the 3rd part. If you look at that video, I go into more detail of these wiring going up the house and crossing over each other, and all about that sort of stuff. But in this occasion, it's very, very simple. I may be adding more lights in the museum, but they will all be on the ground, on the floor, looking up. I'm not going to have any hanging lights or anything, so I can keep the wiring just down here to a minimal. As you can see, I've put package tape, parcel tape. You can use, hang on, I've got some here. I'll just put it there for you. You can use black insulation tape, any strong tape like this, especially when the lengths that you're putting on are like 5 foot long, which these are. It's just to hold them down over time. And also with this tape, when I put it down, I also used a little bit of super glue around the edges of it, and then stuck the whole thing on, so it's very, very, very stuck. That's not even a proper sentence, but you know what I mean. Who knows? Who cares? So yes, so I'm going to bring the wires up and attach them to this these 2 strips. As you can see probably in the video, that they're not completely parallel, they're not exactly measured distance wise, they just need to be apart from each other, and it doesn't really matter. Just don't go way off course, but just try and keep them reasonably straight when you stick them on. They've got a sticky back. This end isn't held down because this is where the electric, the mains cable is going to join this junction box here, which is very, very simple. You just attach it to the thing, to the back of the house, and then you just push these to put the wires in, one there, just push them into the hole, so there's no screwing cables in and out, and they're easy just to press and undo if you want to move the house. So all I do to start off with is I'm going to put it at this end. You can put it at whatever end is nearest your electric sockets in your house, where you, in your main house, wherever your dollhouse is going to sit. Put these closest to the mains, so you don't have a long cable everywhere. And I just laid that on there, marked it with a pencil, so I know they're going to be that distance apart, and then I just started laying each one from here along and up to the end there. Okay, what I will do now is just I'll I'll just fix the camera up. I'm not sure if I'm going to be in the way or not, but I'll fix it up and show you just how this works when you attach it. Okay, so it doesn't matter which way around this goes on here. Really doesn't matter at all at this stage. But these two prongs here that are sticking out, all you're going to do is put them on the doll's house and then bend that to the wall. So these just bend in, so they're just inside here, in flat when it's finished, and then they'll keep pressing against the copper tape as this is being held on by two screws. So if I just lay it on like so I know it's in line with the, hopefully you've got a rough idea from there of what I'm doing, and then push. I need to hold the house a bit, but push it down. Whoops. And you can see that it's bent the wires in, but just make sure they're lined up when you before you screw this in. Make sure they're both touching a copper wire, which these are, and then before I screw it in, I just do two little pencil marks with the automatic pencil, or any pencil you want. So you've got the two screw marks there, and then you can use an electric drill if you're slow and careful with it, or a handheld drill like so, or a bradawl, which is what it's meant for, is to make the holes before you screw a screw in. I'm just going to do this, and I'm not really standing at the right angle for this, but that's okay. So I'm just going to make a small hole just to start with, and obviously make sure your screws aren't longer than the thickness of the wood that you're using, otherwise they'll come through into the outside of the rooms. There we are. So that's just made the two marks there just to start it off. I'll put that down, and then the screws are over there, so I'll go and get them. Basically I'm just going to line this up with the screw holes and just screw it to the copper wires there. Now I've screwed one in, but I am actually in the way when I screw it in. The camera's not in the right place. I'll move it around for doing the connection of the wires in a minute, but just to show you, if I hold that up, that's just, whoops, where are we? That is just the length of the screw that I'm using. It's about 5 mils. You know, it's just a short screw that's about 5 mils in length altogether, so it's not going to go through to the other side of the house. And also it's strong enough, or there's enough screw there just to hold this in. I'll just pause the video while I do this because I'm in the way anyway. Now before I carry on wiring this up, I just wanted to say, over time I've had a lot of people comment over the lighting of their houses, and some people haven't bothered because they are worried about doing it. Some people are frightened to do it, and honestly I think if you think about it as the same thing as putting wallpaper up, laying floors, all you're doing is another job in the house. It's not dangerous just because electricity is involved. It's a 12 volt transistor that comes through, that's plugged in. So it's the same as a child's 12 volt battery. It's not going to do anything drastic at all. So there's nothing at all to be frightened of. Once you've laid the copper tape down and you've put I know it's out of camera now, but I've put the connector on at the end. What I did do was to cut all the wires to the length that I want, bare the two ends. If this was ordinary dollhouse lights, all the several different dollhouse lights you can get, the 12 volt lights, it doesn't matter which wire goes onto which copper strip. There's no polarity in them whatsoever. The only time you have to watch this is if you're using the LED strip lights, which I am using in this museum. The LED strip lights, you can see the wires. There's a black wire, and then there's a black wire with red all along it, a black and red wire. That's the positive, and the black one is the negative. So that's the only thing you have to be concerned about, is which one of these you put on which one. So when you've plugged the electrics in, all I do is put a felt marker on one side of the copper, so I know it's the top one. I've done it all along here, just put little marks, so I know it's the one along the top is the positive one. It goes to the red connector, and then all I do, because the wires for the LED strip lights, they're not long enough to come through in their own right, so I've joined them on the inside. So obviously now I just have joined them to the normal white, all white wire that we use for dollhouse lighting, so that doesn't have a positive or a negative. So all I've done is split them, bare the wires, and then either if you can stand a mirror in front of your dollhouse while you're standing, and all you do is touch the two wires on the copper strips, it doesn't matter which two, and if you can see the light hasn't gone on, then you know they're the wrong way round. Switch them round to the other way and you can see the light come on. As soon as you do that, you know that whichever one you're holding on the top strip here, there's this positive wire, and all I do is get a felt pen and mark the end of that wire. So now the two wires here, I've got one with a felt pen marker on it and one just plain white. So when you come to wiring them, you just pick them up and you know the one with the felt pen marker is going to go to the top wire there, the top copper tape. But as I say, normally in dollhouse lighting, I wouldn't be doing this at all. I would just be splitting the wires and putting any one on any tape, as long as one is on one and one is on the other. So if you're using ordinary dollhouse lights, omit this section. But if you are using LEDs, just as I say, it won't if it's on the wrong wire, if it's on the wrong copper tape, it just won't light up. It won't blow the LED lights. It won't give you a shock. None of it will. So just switch the wires over and you can see it's coming on. If you don't have a mirror, then do it in a time in the day when it's getting a bit dull, so you can turn your lights out but you can still just about see clearly, and just hold the wires on, and then in the dim light of your room you'll see a light coming on, and then you know which one is which. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I'll just maybe move position or just stand up. Yes, so as I say, don't worry. Don't let it concern you about doing dollhouse lighting. It's literally just another job you're doing. It's nothing, you don't have to be well trained in it or anything. You need to know how to use a soldering iron, and that's the same as switching on an iron at home and ironing your clothes. You're just using a tool to make something hot. So this is literally, it's the same thing. It's like a pen, but it heats up. You've got your solder there. Some people have asked, so I have answered individuals before, but just to say, you don't need a flux to put on here first to rub on. This kind of soldering doesn't need a flux. You just get the solder and the iron and then put the two together. So when I want to join these wires, wherever, as long as they're not pulling it too tight, just leave a bit of give in the cable, in the wire, and just get a bit of solder on both of the copper strips. I don't know how well you can see it on this from that distance, but all I'm doing, let me hold it carefully now. So you just touch the copper strip with the solder and the iron, and the solder melts and goes onto the copper strip like so. Just get a goodly amount there like that, and then put that down, and then you've got your wire with the, it doesn't matter which one you do first of all, as I say, and at the moment I've got it unplugged at the electrics, but you could leave that plugged in and still do this, and it still isn't going to make any odds. It's not going to do anything wrong. But I've got the wire here with the felt marking on it, so I know that goes to the top. So you're just holding that copper wire laying it onto the where you've put the solder, and just dab it with the soldering iron again, and you can, and it really sort of just does it. As soon as it liquefies, it goes over the wire and it's held on. And then do the same with the other one. And also, if you don't feel you've got enough soldered on at this point, you can go over it once it's fixed to the light, like so. I think I've switched the soldering iron off. Oh, I have, but it's just hot enough to do that. Switch it back again. So I don't know if you can see, but there we are. That's fixed and it cools down within 2 seconds, so you can touch it. It doesn't keep heating it at all. So just go along doing the same thing. A bit more copper, a bit more solder. Put the wires on. Touch it with a soldering iron. Like I say, if you've only got a tiny bit of solder there, and it looks like maybe in time it might work its way loose, then just get a bit more solder and dab it onto the wire and touch the soldering iron like so. And it's put a bigger lump on there. It doesn't matter how unsightly it looks. It's at the back of the house, you're not going to see it, or whatever you've got your electrics. And then once I've done that, I can just put a bit of tape on here if I want, just to flatten this down to the actual house itself, and it just keeps them nice and tidy. What I will say before I forget is where you have the electric source, which is, in my case, it's at this end. When you put the first one in, put the wires in the source, switch it so it's switched on and connected, and make sure that light is alight in the house. Then you can go on to the next one, join that on, make sure the light is on in the house. Don't just stand at the back where you can't see the house at all from the front, and join all the wires up, because when you go around and find out that either one of the lights isn't working or they're all not working, in which case there'll be something wrong in the circuit at some point and it's stopping all the other lights from working, you've got to then undo each one in turn to find out where the problem is. So start from the beginning of your power supply and work away from that. So the last ones you're putting in will be at the end of your copper run, basically. So I shall carry on doing that. As I said, now I'm just going to go around. The ones at each end, I'm actually in front of 2 bits of glass there looking outside, and I can see them see if they're lit up by looking at the door. But these ones in the middle, it's just a wall there, so I can't see. So I will go and switch the light off, make sure that's working, put the light on again and carry on. Do one at a time. As you can see, I've now brought the basement out onto the workbench outside, and here we have one cutting tool, and here we have one square. Yes, I'm going to cut a hole in the roof of the museum. Are we intrigued? I have in my head, I have a really super idea for this, so I'm going to be a bit drastic, really, and you will see as the videos go on. This is going to be so exciting. If it works, if it doesn't, I can always refill the hole. I'll keep that piece of wood just for gluing back in again. Okay, so here we have one hole in the museum ceiling. What can be going on here, we ask ourselves. I like with the light in the workshop, it's coming down through the ceiling, and it's casting a beam of light there. So this will not be explained in this video, boo-hoo, because I'm still waiting on a tool to arrive, so I can then make something to do with the hole in the roof. So that's all I'm going to say for now, folks. I know, I'm just such a spoil sport. What we'll do now, I've put the pieces of wood, I've glued them into the archway at floor level, so they just cover up the lights in the archways. So let's put some items, let's just put a few items into the museum, so you can now see why I've built these different areas, and it will just give you an idea of where I'm going with this. Now, let's put some things at this end first of all. Sorry, I am going to be in the way just for a second here and there. Because of where the camera is, I can't put it anywhere else. Let's put them in there. This one in here. And this one in this archway. There we have some items in the back there. And now, the reason for this mirror is because the goddess Isis is going to be standing up there in prime position, and the mirror is there because she's detailed equally on the back, and I don't want that when it's standing against the wall. I don't want people not to be able to see it, so I've gone to all this bother just so you can see that. So if I place it in, everything is measured for the height of the ceiling and where the mirror is placed, obviously. So she will go there. I'll show you it up close once I position things. Now I'll just pause the camera and move it in the other direction and put some things over at this end. Okay, and at this end we will have this chappie in here, the smaller sarcophagus in the middle, and the larger one at the end. Of course, with the lighting being at the front of each of these, I've done the plinths big enough to hold the items that I'm putting in there, but the lighting on the floor is in front of the plinth, and the items themselves don't come over the edge of the plinth, so they won't block out light beaming up. So the light should just come up freely without any constrictions. And at this end, we've got a major wall at this end. We're going to place Ramesses II, and this little gentleman is going to go here. This is just flat at the back of his sculpture, so there's nothing to see, so that's why there's no mirror there. And we have this beautiful Egyptian wall. Also I had, oh yes, and here we have, to give more of a dramatic look, nothing like a bit of extra drama. Just when you think you've seen enough, add a bit more. Which is very much the case with this entire palace, is adding and adding and adding on top and top on top. Right, let's take the camera then so we can have a good look at this. And here we have John Boy, everybody. The lovely JB. Yes. You've come to assist of the switching on of the light ceremony.
I have.
In the Pharaoh's tomb. How mystical of us. Okay, so we've got it all ready just to plug in. John Boy is going to switch on the lights, and then you can see it lit up at the same time as us. So if you want to switch the plug on or plug
these lights off.
well, you could do. We'll just see if we put our main lights off.
There we are. Ready?
Oh, in darkness. Okay.
Countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go! Oh, look at that. Isn't that fun? That's lovely.
As you all know, I can't not laugh when I'm amazed with something. That's just what I was hoping for. Oh, it's brought a tear to my eye. Isn't that amazing,
lovely,
JB?
Really good. Yeah, looks really good. It's come alive.
Wow.
Well, hopefully not, but the scene has.
Yeah, the mummies are coming alive. Let's go in and have a look. That's the beautiful Isis. Look at this. Absolutely. And the shadows under the eyes where the light comes up from underneath and then the shadows behind on the wall. Absolutely just what I wanted. Let's move along here. How amazing. And then to these ones at the end. That's just exactly what I wanted. Oh dear. Hasn't that brought life to
It's
it?
lovely, really good.
That's the first time we've both seen it, and you all have seen it lit
No,
up.
it looks really good.
Really,
Well
really
done.
pleased. I've got lots of bits to put in, obviously, but that's just. And I wanted the. Now you can see the LED lights that you used in your haberdashery, in your charity shop and the cafe. You wanted the white light, so it was nice and bright because people are eating and looking and buying things. And then here we're using the warm light LEDs in case anyone's interested in buying them themselves. We just got them online, I think on Amazon or something.
They're not very expensive.
No, they're quite cheap. I've got lots more, so I can put more in. So as I put more items in, I may put more lights on the floor and just cover up the cables in some way.
Oh, you need to light up the exhibits, definitely.
Yes, yeah. So I will be there will be more in, but that's just the main back wall feature.
It's good.
Amazing. Okay, my lovelies. So I will end this show on a high. I've never felt so happy when it's taken so long for me to do that part of the museum and actually to light it up for the first time with you guys. It was just exactly the picture that I have in my mind. Each night when I go to bed, it's what I can see when I'm walking around the museum. It's how it looked. So for it to actually look like that is absolutely such a gift to me that it's worked. So, and as well with these LED light strips, I've just found out after filming the last section, I was doing stuff and I went to switch it off and one of the lights was not lit up and I thought, oh, here we go, what's wrong with this? And I just put my finger in on the LED light strip itself and they instantly came on again. So obviously the fittings on the lights themselves are just as dodgy as the normal dollhouse lights that we all buy with the little screw-in bulbs. They'd always go in on and off and you have to tighten the bulb or do whatever. So now I can tell you it's exactly the same with the LED strip lights. They are also temperamental. So anyway, it works now after touching it. So it's my magic touch. I just realised. I'll go away now, shall I? Anyway, I've got I can't carry on this video, which I would absolutely love to, because I'm waiting on a tool to arrive in the post. So it enables me to create something else that will go into the museum. That's what I really want to do next. It is actually due in today, the parcel. So hopefully at some point during the day it will arrive. But time is getting on, so I'm going to leave it here and then carry on with the next video ASAP. Lovely to speak to you all. Thank you with all the new subscribers that's coming along. It's honestly, I am so grateful that you're joining our miniature family. as I love to call us, and hopefully I'm looking forward to being in your room again as soon as possible, and we'll all chat together. Lovely to speak to you all, and see you again soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.